I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's 6:59. We stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I've got to ask the people's patience here, but we do need to step into executive session for about 2 minutes. So do I have a motion for the town board to enter an executive session to discuss matters pertaining to the employment of a particular person? Lou? And Bob second. So it's 7 o'clock.
Councilman Myers, Councilman Jasinski.
Joe?
Yes. Roll call.
Yes.
Councilman Esposito.
Yeah.
Councilman Edwards.
Yes.
Supervisor Joyce.
Yes. Associated Restoration. Do I have a motion to exit executive session at 7:20?
So moved. I'll second.
Councilman Myers.
Yes.
Councilman Jasinski.
Yes.
Councilman Esposito.
Yes.
Councilman Edwards.
Yes.
Supervisor Joyce.
Yes. So at this time, I guess we'll open the floor for public comment.
Privileges of the floor.
Privilege of the floor, yeah.
Okay. Rick Mara from Berkshire Drive. And I've been everything in this town. And privileges of the floor, or the executive session I did at the end of the meeting, not to displace everybody and make them sit here like assholes, okay? You understand the concept? You want to do privileges of the floor, you do it at the end of the meeting, where everybody can go if they want to, they don't need to be here. That's all I gotta say. In other words, you're out of line. Right out of the gate. With that. No offense with everything else, I'm happy with everything else going on, but everybody's sitting here like dummies. Okay? I did that at the end of the meeting. That's all.
Thank you.
Come on.
Additional comments?
Tim Bishop, 318 Vernon Drive. I was just looking at your agenda here, and I noticed in the communications section that a couple of letters are missing. My letter of intent and my wife Pat's letter of intent. And I'm just wondering if you guys received those.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's it.
Can you make those available? Yeah. I'll put them on the agenda.
Any other comments? All right, let's close the privileges of the floor. It's 7:23. Minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the 12/13 board meeting? Bob?
I'll start there.
Councilman Myers,
Yes. If I could, just before we call the roll, I think that only those people who are actually on the board as of last year are eligible to vote on the minutes of the meeting. So the others who weren't on the board on December 13th should just abstain from voting.
Councilman Jazinski, do you abstain? Councilman Esposito?
Yes.
Councilman Edwards? Supervisor Joyce?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay.
Do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the 12/28 special town board meeting?
And same thing here.
So I think it's only two people.
I'm just reading. I read.
So there's only two members here that were here at the time. So we don't have enough to actually carry a motion. There's no legal obligation to actually pass to approve the minutes of a meeting like this. So I don't think it's necessary to actually put it to a vote. But
How
there's no
should I
reason.
note that?
That the motion was tabled for lack of sufficient votes.
Okay.
But that's not to forestall any conversation about it, so if anybody
Yes.
wants to discuss it, feel free.
So I've asked Jean to address the board regarding the hazardous mitigation report. Any committee you met with the Schenectady County?
Right, my name is Gene Russo, represent the town on the hazardous mitigation plan. And you all have a copy of what we went through in the meeting before. And really the only things, we would really update some of the assessments for like identify potential hazardous areas, impacts, critical facilities, where we would be, if there was a major catastrophe, where would be the collection of the yelling point. And some of the hazards to be assessed in 2012 are like floods, ice jams, dam barrier, severe wind and rain damages, hailstorms, wildfire, drought, landslide. We're in Princetown small, we really didn't have any damage in these last two floods and hurricanes, except that I got some minor erosion around the pump station upstairs, but we made a grant and try to get some money to redo that slope up there. But I just going to the meeting, and the state requires us to have this, be on this committee to identify some of these hazardous areas. I mean, before you have any questions, or?
Which pump house are you talking about?
The main pump house, the street, the enormous scale behind the pump station, we lost some of the slope back there, and just talking, might be able to get some grant money to stabilize that slope to there, in case it does happen again, It wasn't damaged this time, but it keeps, occurs, it could get closer to the station up there.
Right.
I'm not sure about getting funds for the one that was washed out up there, that was a private one, I'm not sure I could get any money to get that one established up there.
There was that communication, I think you guys all saw it. So I might try to work with Gene and the board to see if we can get a grant or a partial grant and see if it applies to, you know, the private Hayden well there. And if not, you know, if we can get anything, maybe shore up the bank. So, could be looking for help on how to write a grant here.
But really, as far as impact infrastructure, really didn't have any damage to it. The town don't want any money from these wells. We had some money flooding on Homesville, I guess, about it. And they did well, that's what the only two properties. We didn't really lose any roads completely, just like that.
No, not on the Irene.
No, I mean, we've had some other, I mean, yeah, get some costs to put in records what we spent on some of these other ones past, you know, last 10 years or so. They were asking for some figures on that. Maybe like get some of those figures updated on the books, that's all.
Yeah.
This table, I mean, is like a 5-page table I gave that represent all the towns in Schenectady County, but Princetown, we don't.
And you did go back and ask if we can go back and check our records.
Right, go back and check the records, see what's going on there. And a lot of these charts, who's responsible for all this, when something does occur, Princetown is unique. In fact, we don't have any highway department to share with anybody else or even do any work with, and the building inspector is what controls most of the code enforcement and stuff like that. So, I mean, any other questions? Or?
That's all Dan's responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. It says building inspector through all the chart, the building inspector. Right?
What hazards would Princetown vulnerable to?
Well, slope projection, landslides, some get washed out for, you know, a slide, mudslide, something like that. And
Is there a way to mitigate the possibility of that happening?
yeah, I guess.
Realistically?
Yeah, there's a plan they're supposed to be followed, right? You seen that? Riprap and stuff like that. Like so they want to do on slope, on no skills, put some riprap through there to protect it.
Something like we did on Ennis Road.
Right.
The repair grants on it.
Right.
And that would be covered under the grant, right?
The grant, you have to get some grant money for that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how, what's available for grants right now, this state is not, get that much grants right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure compared to Schoharie and Lauderdale.
Right, and there's all of our places that have a lot more damage than we did in here.
Did this study take into account the Gilboa Dam family? Or is it just a 100-year flood?
Just a year flood, I guess, it was just Connecticut County, and the water came from up there, but I'm not sure how much that would be involved into it. Okay.
I just make a recommendation. I think, and I don't want to speak for him, you can talk to him on your own, but I think our town planner has some experience in the area of grants.
Grants, right, yeah.
And his plan background would probably be an asset really for assistance on working on the grant.
Thank you. I actually have talked to Gino a bit about a couple of other subjects, but yeah. As a matter of fact, I'd like to, try not the right time, but I'll mention it. If Gino can perhaps hold a class and we can get some volunteers from the township to how to write grants. Something to think about, but we can talk about it another time. Thanks, Doc. Thank you, Gene. Hey, well, you guys have any questions for Gene, or? Thank you, sir. All right. Any old business or from town hall?
Nothing on out of the town hall. I mean, they're been fairly normal. Trooper barracks, the 4 bathrooms have all been rehabilitated. They finished that. We got this year we got to strip the wallpaper off the walls in there, paint, fix the ceilings, repaint the ceilings. After we start working on getting contractors' bids out for that, whatever you exactly want to do. That's it for those 2. Water, water's been working fine. Did have a meeting last week with New York State DOT engineer on the Birchwood Drive realignment with Doug Cole. And they meet our specifications, what we need for valves and everything else. There's about 100 feet of water line on Birchwood Drive that's got to be realigned. We got to put new valves in there, Route 7. The state's going to do it. So And that'll start about July 1st when they start realign that and then take down the bridge also on Birchwood Drive at the same time. We'll have a couple 4-hour shutdowns on Route 7. We're putting new valves in and taking the old valves out, and Birchwood Drive will probably shut down for about 4 hours one day when we reconnect the new line into the old line. Outside of that, yes.
All right.
And the state's funding all of that.
Yeah, it's all by the state. They just had to meet with us to make sure, that we gotta go through the final plans yet, there's a final construction meeting. We'll be on, but they had to make sure, what kind of valves we needed, joints, everything else, what we specified, what type of pipe. Everything's stainless steel, everything has to be wrapped in poly, and make sure it's done right. Then I gotta contact the health department yet too, just let them know what's happening.
And what's the timing, the projected timing of that?
They said around July 1st was the start, so probably be after 4th of July. But first, we'll start the valves down here, and then after the water line gets in, then they're gonna start tearing the bridge out at the same time. It's all supposed to be one contract.
I know you gave Joe Kuzinski here a quick tour of the Gilbert's Church pump house, so I think Joe's just going to provide some thoughts and.
Yeah, I mean,
With George.
I got my head around the problem and how it basically evolved. And it's really not anything where you can point a finger at any one person that says they didn't do their job. Problem now is to get the leak fixed. And there's a misalignment. And I called Doug Cole at McDonald, but he hasn't returned my call yet. But what George pointed out is the fix seems reasonable to me. I just want to make sure that the parts that are being used, we're going to need 2 flex couplings in the line now to make sure that we won't have any leaks. Make sure that they're rated properly for the pressure that they're going to see.
That's all they are.
And that's all something that Doug Cole should be able to provide. So
And he's going to lay out the specs on the how-to, and he's going to do the acceptance on this, so
yeah.
there'll be a warranty.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a repair procedure from him that just outlines and specifies, what hardware and what steps will be taken. And they're gonna have to nudge that skid. The pumps and the whole guts and pump out sit on a big skid that probably weighs, I don't know, just guessing, but it's gotta weigh at least 2,000 pounds. And so I feel George gave me a very good rundown, and I'll follow up with Doug Cole and get back to the board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to, please, George, I'm not trying to second guess. I just want to make sure that it's.
This will probably be done Thursday or Friday, it's gonna be finished, so.
Right. I just want to make sure again that, we in the town are assuming, no cost or as minimal cost as possible, and, no liabilities on it. This wasn't anything that the citizens should be, and I understand you're working with Doug and Jack McDonald and Carver stepping up, so that's good news. I just want to be, and especially you and your team, be really careful, and the last thing we need is, you to pull your back out or something like that, because then the price really got steep. So that's really my concern. A, we're not assuming any cost. B, none of our team is gonna get hurt or anything like that. And again, at McDonald, then we kind of accept it and provide the procedure, how to do it, what's there gonna be the checks and balances, make sure it's functioning right, and for him to do the acceptance on it. And I'm assuming again some workmanship, warranty on the workmanship, kind of standard stuff. But, my concern again is here to cost and your safety, so,
Well, it's not costing the town anything to have this thing done now, so.
that's good news.
I apologize, but I have no idea what we're talking about.
So the Giffords Church and George can
British Church has always had a little bit of leak on and off over the years.
On the top of the hill?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's had a drip out of 1/5. It'll go away for 8, 9, 10 months, and it'll show back up. And then last fall, a year ago, it started getting worse.
Once you start
And we
working.
had McDonald, Carver, Fluid Kinetics, I think that's the only ones that were involved. We all stood there and, you know, argued back and forth. Whose fault is it? It's nobody's fault. We can measure everything, basically everything measured right. But a couple changes were made on the skid to fix a couple problems that were in installation. There were leaks in installation. They changed it, fixed it, and evidently it must have torqued it out, put it out of whack a little bit, an inch or so. And it just put enough pressure on the one joint and it just keeps leaking. And once you torque it down, and you do it, it's fine. You torque it down again, you probably get away with it. About the third or fourth time, you readjust the nuts, it just starts dripping. And now it drips more. And we've had these fittings. It took 6 months for one fitting, 5 months for the other to get in since last year. And then, you know, that was in July. And now we've been going back and forth with the town was supposed to get a bill, and then the town was not supposed to get a bill.
Right.
And it's finally settled out. And we're gonna get this thing done.
So who's bearing the cost for all this?
Fluid Kinetics bears the cost of the fittings.
The material?
And Carver's supplying a guy, and, you know, in a couple hours' time, we're just gonna shove that skid over an inch, put 2 flex fittings back on, and that's it.
Thank you.
Put the bolts in correctly on the one
And the bolts
side.
on correct, and we have.
Do we need the bolts? Because I'm not sure if we've torqued them 2 times, they're stretched, so.
I have these bolts in stock for everything, so.
Okay. All right, and, so McDonald's gonna provide a procedure
Well,
and check?
it's not that,
It's just the procedure